comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Vixen and Blitzen and all his reindeers pulling on the reins. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. So hang your stockings and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He's got a bag that's filled with toys for boys and girls again. Hear those sleigh bells jingle, jangle, oh, what a beautiful sight. So jump in bed and cover your head, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight.
Good evening, race fans and SRA Nation. Welcome to Division 6's rendition of Season 5, Round 4 at Misano. We are expecting some inclement weather tonight, so it should be interesting on-track battles and strategy decisions to mix up the grid tonight. I'm joined by Austin Whitescarver and special guest, Jerry Finkel.
Hey, Jerry here. How you doing today, Doug?
I'm feeling really good. I'm excited about tonight, and I expect the grid to be just chock full of good battles. We have 13 cars on the grid at the moment, and Division 6 is ripe for the taking. We have had some drivers promoted out of this division to subsequently D4 and D5. That leaves the championship battles to be mixed up quite a bit, and create some opportunity for some other people that were otherwise out of the points contention. So exciting for the entire grid as an opportunity. So let's take a look at the track tonight. Austin, what are your thoughts on Misano?
It is a very fun track, but very flowing. If you go through Sector 1 and you're off just by a little bit, you will bleed a lot of time and lead a lot of people to invite themselves to go for an overtaking opportunity. You know, turn 1 and turn 4 are some of the big ones. Leading down turn 8 and turn 10 are another big key one, and then at the end you have 13 and 14. So I'm looking for some good battles up until those points and seeing what happens.
This is a tough track, and it's very easy to get a track cut. And when you're only allowed to have 3 without penalty in a 60-minute race, I have a strong inkling that some of our drivers are going to be experiencing drive-through penalties up the wazoo tonight. And if they're not careful, if you have an off on this track and you cut a specific couple corners, you could even get disqualified on accident. So you just got to be really careful, really careful.
Yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, Doug. And on the practice race, actually, I got to drive through 4-track limits near those turns 13 and 14 over there. Just 'cause it's so easy to go wide and cut back and gain a little bit of time.
Sometimes even when you, like, I had a track cut warning when I even lifted, and it still gave me one. And I was losing time, and the game still just elected to slap my wrist. So again, this is a track notorious for some difficulties with track cut management. So that being said, let's go visit our drivers on track. All right, we are on board with Fari Henry here of Badman's Intergalactic, setting their lap right now. Again, it's a small grid tonight, but I fully anticipate that we're going to have some really great on-track battles. And Division 6 is full of a lot of respectful racing thus far, which I've been very impressed with. And I expect nothing less tonight.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the amount of incidents we've seen from D6 has been very minimal. I think last race was actually the first time that they had any actual punishable stewarding incidents, tickets reported there.
Literally
so
only
let's see if
one.
They can hold that up. Yeah, literally only one. So let's see if they can hold that up. I mean, I definitely think they can do it. Usually 0 lap 1 contacts, if anything, is very, very small, if anything. But yeah, let's see how they do this race here.
Like we mentioned earlier, Austin, several of the drivers that were very competitive on this division have subsequently moved on to other divisions. So who do you think is the favorite to win tonight?
I've been looking at Ferrari Henry. He has finished 10th place in the first 2 races, and then last week in Indy, he did get a podium. And right now sits 4 points back from the leader, who is actually absent from this race.
And who might that be?
That is Ruda.
Oh, Ruda. I love Ruda.
Yeah.
Amazing driver. Really funny guy, too.
Good deal.
Think Dan McAllister is also another one I'm watching. He's 8 points back. So that was a very tight race for number
Nice.
one.
Well, as you said that, Fari sets the best lap right now with a 146.5. That's 2.5 seconds faster than P2 at the moment.
That's a crazy pace for D6. Not as crazy as what we've seen before the promotions, but still very, very good pace compared to the other drivers right now. Keep in mind that this split does have 5 minutes still to qualify and improve their time, so anything could happen.
You're actually thinking about our other divisions. Division 6, it all qualifies at the same time. And they have the full 20 minutes.
Never mind.
Yep, so they get the benefit of the doubt, and they all get to share the grid like one happy family.
So yeah, they get 14 minutes, just more amount of time to mix things up on the timetables here. And just as we see that, Castro coming in with a 45.8 and pushing Henry into second there for qualifying.
Yeah,
What do you guys think about that?
Looking good. I think that Fari was just the first driver to set a clean lap in these tough wet conditions, because I'm on board with Austin Gaskin at the moment, who's going to cross the line with a 3.4 second improvement. So that is going to be quite the difference there. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Jumps up from P11 to P5. Still 2.5 seconds off pole right now, but drivers are going to be finding some comfort in these conditions, adapting again, like we talked about pre-race, and I expect a lot more pace to be found.
Yeah, I mean, definitely in the wet, it's one of those things where after you kind of get used to how wet the track is, what you can push and what you can. I feel like in wet conditions, there's a lot more room for improving your time after you learn the track. Whereas in dry, the conditions are relatively stagnant.
Yeah, in dry you can kind of get in a groove. In wet conditions, if you have even so much as a small slide, it throws off your entire sequence of corners, and it can really throw you awry. I know personally, I had a couple instances where I got on the brakes a little bit too hard, or even on the curbing a little bit, and just the ABS just sucks any braking ability out from under you, and you find yourself just plowing into a series of corners. So losing momentum in the wet is brutal.
For sure, yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see how some of these drivers take it, because you can do a lot of hot laps on dry and take a lot of different lines, and then you get to the wet, completely different.
I've been impressed with the amount of dedication that these drivers have had. Very active. I think they're a little bit nervous for the wet conditions because they were very active in chat this week in the SRA Discord, asking for some feedback, coaching opportunities, setup help. So, and I've seen a lot of these drivers spending quite a bit of time in our practice servers just grinding away. So, I think that you're going to see there's going to be some drivers that are pretty comfortable because of the time and dedication they had this week in practice. And there's going to be some drivers that are just caught entirely by surprise.
Yeah, I feel like the practice race definitely helped me out before the race. And doing that, just kind of getting used to those conditions and getting my ABS and stuff like that adjusted. And racing with other people in the wet, too, because you can hot lap around a free practice track all you want, but you have a car throwing mist in your face, and all of a sudden, it's a lot more challenging to kind of, judge your braking point and whatnot.
Yep. As we see there, Anthony Calvi goes off, sitting in P3 at the moment. Basically the first person kind of setting the bar for the rest of the field. Right now, it looks like Fari Henry and Castro are in a world of their own at the moment. The rest of the grid sitting within that 2 to 3 second gap there. I expect these two front runners to basically be battling amongst themselves, and then the rest of the grid's going to fall in line behind them. But yeah, Castro is sitting in the pits right now, probably content with their lap, if I had to guess. Still 10 minutes left. Plenty of time to get out there and set some more laps, though.
Yeah, 10 more minutes. I mean, maybe some of the drivers are thinking that they don't have the full 20 minutes, but they do. Or like you said before, maybe Castro's just like, yeah, this is the best I can do. Or, yeah, try and beat this, guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some redemption arcs from drivers last week. I remember that the NSX drivers of Cole Compton and Papadopoulos was having an absolute nightmare of a race last week. Austin, you recall?
I do, and it was not pleasant for them. They found the ice skates of Indy. They spun a couple times, especially those S's. Had a race to remember, so hopefully tonight is more favorable for them.
That being said, Stamati Papadopoulos here just sets a time sufficient for P4 as they elect to do a Stance Nation pose in the grass here in the midfield. This is one of the sections that I was warning drivers pre-race. Nice little slide there. That if you cut this corner too bad, you can get disqualified. So you're flirting with some danger there, sir. Get on out of there. Let's find another driver that's making a statement on track right now. Josh Smith in the Beamer is looking to make some moves. I want to say that Josh Smith is on controller.
Controller gang.
Yeah, look at these steering inputs here. I can't imagine having to drive in the wet with a controller.
Hey, man. Well, I live it every day, so.
Brutal. Black Friday deals for wheels have come and gone, so these drivers have committed to this controller gang nation.
No, I got a wheel. I just need to get a setup for it. Because right now, my current table, my monitor would shake pretty bad on it, so.
Sounds to me like all you need is a monitor arm.
They are very nice, allow you to have a lot of desk space.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
That being said, let's take a look at a lap from Josh Smith here. You gotta be really careful. You want to be hugging the curbs, but at the same time respecting them because they're very slippery in these wet conditions. If you brake on the curbing at all, Austin, yeet.
Very much so, especially even if you got me.
Oops.
Yeah, he invalidated on that corner to Jerry's point there. You hate to see it.
Get on the accelerator on some of these curves too, you will not go very far very fast.
You're not
your
wrong.
your TC will kick in, or you will just end up losing the rear.
You're not wrong. Let's take a look at someone else that's on a valid lap here. Good luck, Josh. Keep grinding there, buddy. Yeah, stay off those curbs. As soon as he got on there, the back end wanted to come out. A newcomer, Ryan Luke, with Down Bad Racing in the Ferrari here. Apologies to Ryan if he uploaded a livery. I did not have sufficient time to download the Awesome Sim Racing group beforehand. We'll make sure that we have it for next week to showcase your creativity there. But Ryan, active in the community right out the gates, and this is his first race with us. Looking forward to seeing what this driver can amount to tonight. Has yet to set a valid lap, and looking to make their presence known. So far, looking pretty stable. What are you guys' thoughts?
They are on an invalid lap right now, but they have plenty of time, at least a couple more laps to get in. So definitely not out for this guy. He's just going to have to keep his control and try and set a valid lap in the next 6 or so minutes.
You guys are talking about Luke there. Soik is on a lap about flirting with that 1 second mark as he gets into sector 3 here.
Tim Soik of Worst Case Scenario, teammates with Nate Allen. Last week we saw them at Indy all over each other. No team orders, no respect for amongst brothers. They were going at it. Do you think it's going to be more of the same this week?
Well, let's take a look at their
100%.
qualifying positions here. Currently, Soik is 11th, and Nate Allen is ahead of him by about 5 positions in P5 or P6. Sorry. So honestly, I think Soik is going to make up some time, and he actually just jumped up a couple of positions in qualifying. So I could definitely see a battle happening again like last time. But we'll kind of see if their attitude has changed as far as fighting each other so aggressively when they're in the wet and can easily ruin both of their races.
I 100% agree. I know last week they were tough but fair for a lot of the laps, and then just through the S's of Sector 3, they or not, that's Sector 2 actually. My bad. Just got a little close and a little door banging action. So hopefully they keep it clean this week with each other.
We asked them in the post-race interview if if that was intentional, if they were just, getting after it, or if they wanted to, if they weren't even talking. They weren't even in the same voice chat with one another. So there was no communication as to whether they're going to relinquish position or time or any sort of patience to one another.
Yeah.
I recommended that they try and do that for the betterment of both of their races. So we'll see what they decide to do this week. Knowing how tough of competitors both of them are, I expect more of the same. They're going to be battling on track, if I had to guess. As Soik invalidates by going wide there, as you just saw. A little bit too hot into the braking zone and carries the momentum off track.
And looking at Papadopoulos, looking at his timing, he went from Sector 1 being up 5/10, and as he crossed the line, down 5/10. I know that is just the nature of sometimes being in the wet, where one area you'll be strong, and then next you have just a tiny moment, and it's all gone.
And as you say that, invalidates again, elects to pull the car over and return to pits. They have time for another lap if they want to push it, but
Yeah, another lap or two even.
yeah, may not be able to. But teammate Cole Compton has put it in P5, where Papadopoulos has done P4. So these drivers looking like they have some innate pace here this week. The Honda is actually a pretty good car to drive in the wet. Very fickle, but it performs well if you can tame it.
I mean, I don't drive the Honda personally, but I've heard some good things about it.
The Honda is very sketchy. As you see, Compton having to constantly make micro adjustments to keep the car pointed in the right direction. Lost literally 4/10 in that one corner that you saw him fighting for traction. But there's definitely time on track, and his pace is very similar to that of his teammates. So we could have another situation like we do from Worst Pace Scenario Boys, where the teammates might be tripping over one another. Should be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll kind of see too if their strategy is more of like, all right, you're ahead of me, just stay ahead, or if they're gonna fight like this, sorry, you said bad pace.
Worst
What
pace
was their team name
scenario.
again? Worst pace scenario. Yep, my bad. I should remember that with how cool of a name it is.
We will see. We will see. But Compton is finding time here and there. Like Austin mentioned, a lot of the drivers leaving a lot of the time on the table in the last couple corners here. Let's see if he can execute. Doesn't manage to find any time, so still hanging about a 10th behind his teammate at the moment. And no other drivers are making an improvement. These conditions are proving quite difficult.
Yeah, right now I'm watching Luke right now. Hasn't made a valid lap yet. Trying his hardest here in the wet, just not having a good time right now. But so far he is on a valid lap here going to turn 7, I believe.
Oh, and as soon as we hop in the car just comes to a complete standstill on the track.
No, don't drive off. Don't drive off. Just said something.
Not too late now. Goes back to the pits.
No, he goes back to the pits.
That is all right.
It was a good attempt.
Yeah,
it was a good attempt.
That is all right.
Just needed some practice beforehand a little bit.
Oh no, I just went on board with Cole Compton. He was up a full 1.2 seconds, and then he invalidates into sector 2.
You hate
What
to
a
see it.
shame.
He pulls over out
And
of
now decides
frustration.
to just go back to the pit lane.
Yeah. Oh man, there was so much time on the board. A full 1 second improvement would have put him in P3. Man,
Wow,
you hate to see it.
that's unfortunate.
Yep. No
So
other
yeah,
drivers
now
have valid times. Looking
yeah,
like what car is that? 562 is going to be able to cross the line. That is Austin Gaskin. He's going to be able, with 18 seconds left, start a new lap. So this is probably the last driver that's going to be able to get one in, unless 108 can manage. That's Soik can manage to get across the line.
He's getting close.
I think he's going to be able to. 3, 2, 1. Starts a new lap. Lucky boy.
wow, look at that. And he is gaining a little bit of time here. Up by a tenth right now, 10th and a half, 2/10.
Oh, and Austin Gaskin does lose out and validates there. And so does Tim. Oh, no.
No, the session has ended.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
see it. On things you hate to see, because you really do hate to see that.
Well, I think that this is just proving that driving in these conditions is going to be royally difficult.
Oh yeah. Now we're gonna see all the drivers kind of perfect their setups here for the race. And what do you think as far as fuel? We're gonna see as far as strategies going, because it is in the wet, so your tires aren't gonna die as much as in the dry. What do you think drivers are gonna take as far as strategy here?
I told the drivers at the post-race replay last week that they need to take a full boat. That they simply because they need to start adapting to how that is the most viable strategy. And if they don't adapt to that now, they're going to get acclimated to just difference of pace in other variations of the car under fuel and whatnot. So it's in their best interest to get acclimated to a full car now. Hopefully they take my advice. If not, they're going to be taking quite a bit of time in the pits tonight, and it's going to be a detriment to their overall race strategy.
Yeah, keep in
Definitely
mind
also,
for any new viewers here, we do have a mandatory pit window for at least 1 liter of fuel. So they do have to pit, but if you just take 1 liter, it's the old splash and dash. So
Ye olde splash and dash.
yeah, I definitely could see some drivers also overfueling just a little bit, not knowing roughly how much to take for their wet pace, or also preparing for if there happens to be a dry line. But just looking at the forecast, don't think there will be.
Can you describe the forecast to our beloved viewers?
Um, Lots of rain. Very lots of rain. I know great English. I'm
Very lots
not an
of
English
rain.
major. Yes, not an English
lots
major
of rain.
myself. But it does look like it could potentially get worse here as time goes on for this race. So
The widget in the top right is what we're looking at here, ladies and gentlemen. So you have the timer symbol, which is present time, then 10 minutes and 30 minutes. And as you can see, the plus sign in the top right means that the rain is going to get harsher, heavier, more difficult to control your car, to say the least. So it's going to get more difficult, and our drivers are going to have a really tough time. This is a very wet track for these drivers.
And that has been Douglas Mitchell, your chief meteorologist with SRA.
They pay me the big bucks to
They
follow
do.
these clouds, man.
They do.
I don't. Dahy dropped some big knowledge in the Discord today about what the lines mean underneath the cloud as far as light, medium, and heavy. So
The two rows of raindrops that you see in the top right is heavy. So these drivers are getting the worst of it. And the only thing worse than this is where it literally comes down in straight lines, thick straight lines, and that is flooded. So that's bad news. But luckily our drivers don't have to contend with that.
Well, In that case, you really are a boat when you fill up the full tank, huh?
No kidding. Basically, just floating around the track as opposed to driving. While you're looking in the top right, we have some new names added to our logo reel here. We have the beloved SRA logo, obviously, but there's a new name, Retro Saga, which is a new partnership of ours that supplies vintage video game memorabilia and is a really cool. They have a website, retrosaga.ca. Go check them out if you're into any sort of video game. You can get some really cool accessories, even the games themselves. They sell all sorts of cool stuff. Great thing to shop for, especially during the holiday season here. Great gift ideas there. And then you also see Armamentario, someone we partnered with, the ACC software crew over there. Great overlay and game information widgets that you can post on top of your screen so you can have the up-to-date information that all the best drivers need at the ready. And then we have Documize, another partnership that most drivers won't be able to leverage, but it's for organizing the data for your business. So if you have a business and you need to organize your data, that's one company to leverage. So that being said, we are rounding Sector 3 here. Gentlemen, get your popcorn.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna try and look for a copy of the original Age of Empires for some of that gamer memorabilia there.
I was looking, and they have like old N64 controllers and stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff. And needless to say, if you like anything video game related, they probably have it. So take a peek over there. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Really cool stuff. All right, on that note, we are starting all 13 cars at the ready. Some of the cars are jostled around a little bit, not quite lined up correctly, hopefully. Yep, no penalties, thank goodness, and we are underway at SRA. Castro gets away clean. Henry tucks in behind. Hopefully we don't have any moments here at the back of the grid. Everyone falling in line nice. The back of the grid also sequencing in, tucking in nicely. Everyone being very patient. Drivers trading some positions at the front, though. And as you see, everyone has made it through alive.
Yeah, very, very clean couple set of laps here going into the next couple of turns. This is what we expect from D6, though. I mean, even in the wet, they're just practicing good racing habits here. Oh, almost a collision right there. Oh, looks like a little bit of a bumpage from, I think that was Soik.
Yeah,
and he goes off into the wall there.
Nate Allen goes around.
Oh, that was Allen?
Yep. Nate Allen comes around. He bumped himself into the wall, hits the back of Papadopoulos, loses traction and control of his car, and then plows into the wall. That is your first victim of the wet nature. You hate to see it.
Yeah, he's got some damage now and is going to have to live with that until he goes to pit, which, knowing that the fact that it's the start of the race, it's not going to feel good. Knowing that you either have to pit early and then pit again, or drive with 30 minutes with that damage.
I think at this stage, the conditions are already so terrible. Like you see Papadopoulos going off right there. I think you just hope for the best. As Luke is also having a moment also at the back there.
Oh, no.
Looks like Austin's grabbing a replay. Yeah, too much traction on the slippery curbs, and the car goes right around.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, right now we're staring at the middle of the grid. Like predicted, the front two, Castro and Henry, are running away with the race right now. The rest of the grid kind of just doing the best they can.
Yeah, right now we're, like you said, we're seeing that gap of less than a second between the two leaders there. And Castro coming in first in qualifying, doing a good job of holding that pole position there. And then the other drivers just kind of filtering in with a couple second gas between each of them.
No doubt. We're going to go on board with Soik, who is attacking Papadopoulos here. Down the back straight, only a 2/10 gap between the two of them. But it's looking like Tim's just going to be very patient here. Get the power down nice. There is a great passing opportunity on the back straight here if he can get a good run on him.
Yeah, well, let's take a look here.
Oh, Tim almost
Oh,
puts
a
it in
little
the
bit of a
back.
late braking there. Maybe an early apex. The other guy had a late apex there. I think he has more power out of the corner. He's got more speed. He's going for the draft here. This is the move if you're going to make it.
I think he just
Looks like
tucks
he's
in.
not to make it there.
I think that's a smart
Tucks in.
move.
Yeah, that is a smart move.
You
In the
have to-
wet, going at high speed around those corners is really tough.
Yep, you have to be alongside at that little kink to the right. Unless, if you can't be there, then you have to back out.
Yeah. It looked like for a second he was able to pull it off there, but yeah, I mean, as I looked more, it became obvious that there wasn't a move there.
Yeah, and now because Soik had his moment when trying to attack Papadopoulos, is now under duress from Gaskin behind, and it looks like
shoot.
Gaskin's going to be able to have a look at him. There was a decent amount of overlap, but Gaskin elects to tuck back in behind. And
Yeah, a little bit of an oversteer, or sorry, understeer from Soik there just allowed Gaskin to kind of have that move open up.
yeah, and unfortunately for Ryan Luke here, our contact data sheet's going to have his name written all over it, spinning constantly, one after another. As Tim Soik goes deep into the hairpin and loses a position to Gaskin, Soik is not having a good time in the heavy braking zones.
Yeah, looking too at his ABS. His ABS is set to 10 out of 11, which is very, very high.
Oh, no wonder he's locking up and just plowing into every corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where if you get the ABS really high, it's safe, right? Because you have a lot of ABS, but you don't have any braking. Like, your braking distance is so long, you just can't make up any time.
Yeah.
But it's safe, and that's what a lot of drivers like. So,
yeah. Austin's showing a replay of Papadopoulos having a moment off track and slots back in, but loses a position to Gaskin. And Soik lost a position to Beckstead in the purple Mercedes here. So Soik is just hemorrhaging time. My guess is because of that ABS setting alone.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Papadopoulos goes wide on that turn for a second lap in a row. These drivers have to be careful. If you keep going wide, you're going to keep earning yourself these track cuts, and it's going to be a drive-through penalty after the fourth one. Josh Smith also having a moment. Looks like Austin caught that. Just another late braking lockup, but able to maintain control of the vehicle. And our drivers now approaching Ryan Luke as he's pulled off on the side of the track, letting the grid by.
A little bit of an unsafe rejoin there, kind of cutting across the track, but no worries as he waited for no drivers to be present.
Good on you, mate. Last rise here, nursing the BMW, the KFC BMW, I should specify, around our track tonight in the wet weather, and is attacking McAllister here. The closest battle on grid at the moment with a 0.7 seconds margin here.
I've been following this one for a couple laps now. Just looks like he is a little nervous to go for that full send. He's been just kind of sneaking his nose in there a little bit, putting the pressure on, but hasn't had the full confidence to fully send that overtake.
So he's not taking the KFC to go yet then, huh?
Has not taken it to go. I like to try to think that the KFC stands for Kentucky's fastest car. But, not showing it right now.
Well, he's driving the BMW, so maybe Kentucky's fattest car.
Oh boy, we have a moment between Beckstead and Soik, and McAllister slamming the brakes, and then that's last rise that we were on board with. We're gonna check the replay. You have Beckstead in the purple Mercedes, and Tim just plows behind, carrying more momentum over the kink. And then Beckstead able to get back on track, in a nice way. Tim electing to try and let Beckstead go, ends up doing so, but by doing so, hemorrhages a bunch of time. And that allows last rise and Dan McAllister to sneak through.
Looks like
Collisions.
yeah.
Smith and Beckstead both getting yellow flags there.
Oh boy, another moment. I'm going to take another 15-second glance at this. Beckstead loses control and then just tags Josh Smith as he just tries to get by. An innocent bystander just clipped on the last bit there. And as you see there, Beckstead allowing Josh Smith to get back on track before assuming the track pace again. Oh, that's respectful, but you hate to see both drivers coming out of this rough despite actions not their fault. And Beckstead, you see, probably nursing some bad damage, can't get the power down anymore.
Yeah, when you can't get it up, you just can't get it up, you know.
In this
So
case, it's
anyways,
you can't get it down.
Yeah, you can't get it down. One thing that I did want to draw attention to is look at positions 10 and 9 on the leaderboard right now, Doug. Who are next to each other? They're not close.
I was about to
5-second gap.
I was about to say they're teammates.
Teammates.
They're together.
Are drawn to each other like sheep of the same cloth, or whatever that saying goes.
Like two peas in a pod, I guess.
Yeah, 2 peas in a pod. Something.
Last Rise almost exits stage right there. Maintains traction and control. Again, getting off into the really wet bit of the off track there, but still keeping Dan McAllister honest here in the Ghost Rider Racing Beamer here.
As we've been talking about this battle, Kelby just took the fastest lap off of Castro at a 1:48.402. Wow.
That is some quick pace there. The three of them, first, second, and third, have all done almost identical fastest laps, so their pace is going to be very similar.
Latrice almost made a move there. They were parallel going into turn 1, but elects to back out and play it safe there.
I was caught off guard calling them Latrice in the first race that they participated with us. It's actually just the Last Rise.
The Last Rise?
Yeah,
Last Rise.
so
Okay.
it's not an actual last name, but that caught me off.
Rise.
Yeah, that caught me off guard too, which is too funny.
Sorry about it, the
Last Rise. But
I'm just gonna say the.
please don't.
Was it,
the, just confuse everybody.
Please don't.
Or is it going to be like the Ohio State, where they got to be completely
The.
different from everybody else?
Yes.
It's the.
The.
Just
Oh, a little
pompous.
bit of late braking from the Beaner there.
Struggling to
I
get
thought
the
that
power
was gonna
down.
be more of a move, but I think the other car,
Yeah.
the Last Rise, also made a little bit of an error on that turn as
No,
well.
I think he just backed out. Last Rise is, like previously hinted at by Austin, is just being very, very cognizant that making the move, it needs to be clean.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of clean, Gaskin off track. What's happened here? Braking, power down on the curb, exit stage right. Do not cut this corner. Do not cut this corner. Nice.
Do not pass go.
There we go.
Like $300.
Again, that's one of those corners that you can get disqualified for if you cut too soon. Back on board. So Gaskin loses several positions because of that. Last Rise attacking, barely keeping the car from going straight there, getting really squirrely under power.
Yeah, going through these first set of turns here, I'd say, like, honestly, these first set is so important because it kind of sets you up for that straight there, that long couple straights where you can really make those move for passing. So nailing these corners down is pretty important for getting that momentum into the midsection of the track.
Oh, come on. You had the
And here it
move.
is.
You have the move. Push.
I see it right here. They're side by side, going on the inside here. It looks like they committed to the move.
Oh, and Dan McAllister gets a little squirrely. The Last Rise able to tuck it up the inside. But again, both drivers struggling tremendously to get the power down. And
So
Last
close
Rise
there.
backs out.
Their fight right there allowed Allen to get real close into this fight as well.
Yeah,
Looks
now
like he's
Alan's
making
just
the
like,
move.
yeah, I'll just take that position from you.
Yeah, just steals
SRA
it.
is just playing passive right now, just not wanting to make an error, which is the right way to play, because, you know, if you end your race, you don't gain any positions, you know, so
Yep.
just playing it safe, getting their conditions down, getting their car down, you know, and then when they have that confidence, like right here, as Nate Allen makes a little bit of an error there, just trying to feel out other cars' braking zones and knowing when to make that move.
Yeah, I just wish I could be the race engineer for these Beamers and just say, crank up that traction control. There's no reason this car should be that squirrely. But you can see the absolutely battered hood of Nate Allen and that Aston Martin in between these two BMWs. It was bouncing while we were doing the onboard. Here's a great angle of the damage on the front of that car. He must be hurting right now. But that being said, last lap was still faster than all the other drivers near him.
And speaking of catching up as well, we've now seen that Soik, because of the little things going on between them, is now able to kind of catch up and pass Latrice after, the last rise, after they had a little bit of an incident there.
Yep, last rise goes off.
Now is pretty close to his teammate there.
Yeah, had a little lazy spin coming out of turn 3 and going into turn 4 there. So that allowed Soik to chase down Allen, and maybe we'll see another teammate battle for a while.
Yeah, now they're right by each other as Allen is going after McAllister right there. I don't think there's a move on this corner, but he's going to try and set up for the next corner here.
Oh, he's got it on the straight if he can get the power down. Because that's the one thing that McAllister is struggling with right now is putting the power down. Too far behind on this lap, but it's going to happen. As you see this gaggle of cars, there's 4 of them in this little grouping here now.
Yeah, all within a second of each other, just kind of following pace and waiting for an opportunity to strike.
Poor Luke, P13 at the moment. Almost a constant yellow flag at this point. You got to ask yourself, is this a setup issue? I mean, this lack of traction is proving to be brutal for them this entire race.
I don't understand how they're spinning either with 10 traction control. I try to spin with 10 traction control and I can't do it.
I saw them that they first joined. I think they were using keyboard and mouse to drive, and I think they recently got a wheel, but I don't know if they have enough confidence that they went for the wheel and just went back to what they know. Which
I wonder if they accidentally put on dry tires or something. Because I feel like with 10 traction control, they're sliding way too much.
You're not wrong.
I wonder if they put on dry tires by accident.
You're not wrong. Austin, give me a replay, 30 seconds of Josh Smith's move on Beckstead. I want to see that while we're checking out this group of 4 here.
Oh, Castro getting a drive-through, our leader getting a drive-through for track limits.
That is a detriment to any race, but I think that, as we see some drivers coming together, a little bit of bump and grinding over here. Good move by Josh Smith in the pip there, but on main camera we had McAllister, Soik, Last Rise coming together, all tagging each other up a little bit, and that's allowed Nate Allen to get away from it all. Nate Allen's built a 2.5 second gap now over teammate Soik, over McAllister and Soik. Oh, as we see
like
here.
Soik here is, he's making the move. I'm not sure what exactly happened with the Beamer there. I looked away for a second.
McAllister has a little bit of a loss of traction, and Tim's momentum carries him right on by. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And now we're right back to where we started. Nate Allen and Tim Soik driving away. McAllister and Last Rise duking it out.
Yeah, just like you said, he had trouble putting that power down for a lot. And, you predicted it correctly. That would be his downfall here. And he ends up losing the position.
Yeah, Beckstead having some more problem too.
Went back in the replay there. It looked like he just didn't take the corner flat out. That allowed Last Ride, was it Soik, to actually get past him? But to that incident with Beckstead, just looks like didn't feel confident on the brakes and went through and straight on turn 13.
Yeah, and it looks like right here, Tim Soik had an off, and that's allowed McAllister and Last Rise to be right back in the equation again. So these drivers are just making a host of errors and keeping the battles consistent and honest on track.
Yeah, always fighting back and forth. Yeah, I always love to see some back-of-the-pack action.
That being said, Castro has yet to serve their drive-through. You only have 3 laps to do so. If you don't, you get disqualified. So
You get the big bang.
that's a no bueno. So you need to get into the pits, sir.
So, what do you predict his position is going to be after he serves this? How long does it take roughly to drive through the lane on this track?
I have genuinely no idea. If I had to guess, he probably comes out P8.
P8. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, just looking at it, I was thinking maybe P6.
I was
roughly.
thinking P6, P5, somewhere around there.
I was thinking
It's not a
P6
super long pit lane.
or P8, but because those are basically the gapping of cars at the moment. But hard to say.
Oh, okay.
Hard to say.
Yeah, well, we'll find out here as this is the last lap he has to take it.
Hopefully he does elect to do so. Last Rise still being patient, trying to get the power down. Crank up your traction control, my guy. Please, I beg of
Either
you.
that or be more cautious on the throttle.
I don't think that's the problem. I think it's just let's look at their steering input. It's nice and smooth. It's all traction control. It's all traction control. I mean, we
I had a
saw
little bit of lag there.
that was a lazy spin because of again the power's not getting put down properly.
We have Soik on Allen team battle coming out of turn 6.
Oh, let's go. This is what we wanted to see. The brothers are at it again. Hello, do you remember me? Yes, I do.
Oh,
Yeah,
goodness
I'm here
gracious.
to fight you.
Something
Looked like
Something
But-
I just noticed is Castro goes into the pits to serve our drive-through and stops like 50 meters too soon for the pit line. So a huge waste of time on a poor pit stop execution.
What is he doing? Is he
oh
pit?
no.
He's stopping to pit?
Yes, he's stopping
Oh,
to
no.
pit. You just need to drive through, Castro.
No, just go through. Just go through, dude. I realize he doesn't have to do anything.
I guarantee you he took the 1
Then
liter
goes
thinking that he
through.
could.
Now he's gonna. Now you were right. He's gonna be like P8 or something.
Because he took a long time to get it in the pits because he didn't know where the line was, 1. And 2, he stopped. I think that he thought he could take his 1 liter of fuel and call it a day. That is not the case. You have to pit during the pit window.
Yeah, going down to 5th, 6th position right there. Just
Yep, there's
Drive-through is
there's
cleared.
P5 right there.
yep. It looks like that's just gonna land him in P6, like
That
we
was
predicted.
P6 that just passed him too. So actually no, that excuse me, that was
that was P5 right
yeah, that was
there, yeah.
P5. So now falling into P6. Good prediction, Austin. But yeah, he's got some work to do to make up for that, unfortunately, and that leaves Fari Henry far ahead of the competition, 5 seconds ahead of P2.
So far.
Yeah, and then Calvi, P2, is so these guys, P1 and P2, are teammates, which is awesome for their points haul tonight if this stays true. Is 22 seconds ahead of Compton, who's in P3.
Wow. That is what we call team domination from the two McLaren drivers over
Yeah.
here. What is their team name, Doug? Do you
They
have that offhand
are
right now?
Badman's Intergalactic.
Badman's Intergalactic.
Yep.
That's a badass name right there.
Oh, the teammates are duking it out.
Here we are. Back
And-
again.
Yeah, Nate Allen's battered AMR driving around as Tim Soik in the hunt. And you have McAllister and Last Rise behind also.
Yeah. Bringing some familiar faces back into the team fight there.
My goodness, these guys are inseparable.
Oh, Calvi
Yeah,
looked
T-
like he had a.
Yep, Calvi has a moment and loses some gap to Fari. Not to sleep on it though, Compton and Papadopoulos, P3 and P4 right now, are also teammates. So another good performance from the two Hondas tonight. We were concerned about them after their horrible luck last week. Ooh, Tim did take a look up the inside and elects to back
Last
out.
Rise had a moment in the back there. Got on the power a little too early, and should take Doug's advice of turning the traction control up.
Please, sir, can I have some more traction control?
Give me that traction control. Yeah, we're gonna see. Just McAllister kind of taking advantage of Nate Allen and Soik fighting there, and yeah, they're gonna be trading positions here through a little bit of corners.
Yeah, Soik actually had
Soik
a
taking the
little bit of
inside there.
Get off the helicopter cam in the pip. It's too small. Choose another
Okay.
angle.
Here they are, all three cars really close to each other. It looks like Soy kind of cut across a little bit as the McAllister was trying to make a move, but no collision happened, so good on them.
There we go. And
Like
Allen blows the corner entirely.
Side by side here, 4 cars just all within like a half second of each other.
Nate Allen misses one braking zone and loses 3 positions for it.
You hate to see it, Nate Allen. But he has the better braking zone coming out here, so he might have the move done. All cars very, very close. Oh, I think McAllister struggling to put on power is going to give up his positions there. Nate Allen and McAllister side by side with Latrice and, Last Rise and Soik pulling in front there.
Dan McAllister able to keep his position because Nate Allen backs out by not having the full overlap. Last Rise goes wide again. And Tim Soik able to protect the position at the moment. I think Tim has the most pace out of all 4 of these drivers, and if he can keep it clean, should be able to drive away from this grouping here. That being said, the pit window is going to be opening right now.
Pit window is open.
So that allows for our...
on that, Doug.
Yeah, man. That leaves our leader, the first driver, to be able to get to the pit lane. So they have the first opportunity to pit. My recommendation is to keep as much temperature in these tires as possible. Pit as late as you can.
Yeah, keep in mind too that blue flag rules can also come into effect while pitting. If you pit early, you might get some blue flags. You need to make sure that even if it's a driver that hasn't pitted yet, they are still technically fighting on that lap. If you get the blue flag, you still have to give it up within 1 lap. So you want to make sure that you're not your pace isn't too slow for that.
No kidding. We're on board with Austin Gaskin. You can see the spray, how brutal it is. Very difficult to see ahead of you here because he is right on the bumper of Papadopoulos ahead, fighting for P5. He caught up really quickly.
Oh yeah, I think Papadopoulos had a little bit of a moment earlier that allowed Gaskin to kind of capitalize on that.
Yeah, and I think Castro did get past Papadopoulos there for P4. So you hate to see it. Compton electing to be the first person to pit behind Beckstead. Excuse me, Beckstead was the first, and now Compton entering the pits also. And you saw in the background of the previous shot that just Luke is just going through the spin cycle almost unilaterally around the track. For those watching, Ryan Luke is a new driver. Great opportunity to make your presence known and offer great coaching for the gentleman here. Looking like, despite having a hard time this race, being really patient and dedicated to the race, gonna be finishing strong, which is always good. Gaskin putting the moves on Stamati here. Brave on the brakes. Don't you do it. Okay, no scuba diving tonight. Normally it's just diving, but in the wet, you gotta have the scuba gear on.
Last Rise and Soik were going at it here in Sector 1, and Soik went a little wide going into Turn 2, which allowed Last Rise to pull out and take that spot. Hopefully that fight continues for Soik. He's going to be wanting to get that position back.
Nice. Gaskin locks up into the braking zone there. Papadopoulos goes wide also, but Gaskin losing quite a bit of momentum and gap to the car in front. But yeah, Nate Allen goes deep again and loses a bunch of time to McAllister.
You hate to see it.
What's wrong with Nate Allen?
Oh no!
Did he turn his engine off?
His starter went off and he doesn't realize it. He needs to turn his starter back on.
Oh boy.
Turn your starter off.
Oh no! Returns to garage.
He had his starter off. I think he thought his engine died. Maybe his engine did die. But he elects to return to the pits via menu, which is going to cost him a lot of time in this race.
And it doesn't count as a pit stop, I don't think.
It does not.
That's going to be
have to go back in.
A mighty big oof.
This is going to be interesting, though. Depending on how much time it takes him to for his pit here, will he make it to the pit window?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
The longest I've seen in the pits, and that's with a battered car, is like 4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay.
Yeah,
so
that
he should have plenty
of
time to do that, but it's going to be unfortunate him having to wait here and then just to go back in the pits again to take his 1 liter of fuel.
Yep. Castro does go back and serve the pit there. Gets the green box next to his name. You are good to go. Get on after it.
A little deep. Last rise as he's chasing down, let's see, is that Compton? Not Compton, Soik. Both go a little wide here.
Yeah, that's actually, last rise is driving right behind Ryan Luke. So Ryan Luke elects to pull over, hopefully to keep it out of the back of both, and has himself a spin. Oh, and my goodness, able to avoid any extra carnage is Tim Soik. Ryan was a little bit ambitious there. Castro getting a drive-through penalty, most likely for speeding in the pit lane.
Isn't speeding a stop-go 30 and the track limits the drive-through?
It depends on the amount of speed.
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo. So if you are speeding between, so the pit line is 50. If you're speeding between 50 and 60, it's a drive-through. If it's anything above 60, stop-go 30.
Okay. Yeah, I was led to believe that stop-go 30 was always speeding in the pit lane, and anytime you did track limits, it's a drive-through.
You're not entirely wrong. So last rise, nursing the car back on track, allows McAllister and Soik to get by.
You know, I'm really disappointed that we didn't see more battle between the Soik and Allen. I was waiting for them just to go fight for half the race.
There is still 29 minutes left for that to happen.
You're not wrong. Several drivers electing to pit. Gaskin, McAllister, and last rise all go in. Nate Allen still in the pits.
Oh man, I wonder if his car like actually died or his starter went out and didn't turn it back on. Because I've had that where I've went off the track and you know like my starter goes out or whatever. I'm just like, oh, I'll just pop this back on and off we go. But then there's some times where your engine dies and you're like, well, I guess I literally can't do anything.
We had Smith there pulling out of the pit lane very slowly. Didn't look like he got on the power quite as hard as he should have.
Well, you can definitely lose traction on that corner coming out of the pit lane. I've done it.
It does have immediate, your tires are colder, and then you have an immediate turn to go into. There's literally zero time between leaving the pit lane and getting right into the action.
It's a lot better though than the old pit lane. That actually, the exit was onto the main straight here.
Scary business.
Yeah, I also think that comes from before 2006. This track was actually ran counterclockwise. So.
No, I think this track was ran clockwise like most tracks are. And this track now runs, actually no, you're right, it's counterclockwise, and now it runs clockwise. Most tracks run counterclockwise.
Yes.
And then this track runs clockwise now, yes. As I watch the cars drive around clockwise like I'm an idiot.
And unfortunately, it looks like the has now acquired a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. And Soik has acquired a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. which
What-
hopefully will put him back with his teammate Nate Allen. But
What did
probably
I
not,
say? What did
considering
I
he is
say?
very, very far behind.
What did I say last week, Austin?
Oh, you're asking me to remember that far back, and sometimes I have a good memory, sometimes I do not.
What is my recommendation for these lower divisions? What do they need to be practicing?
Oh boy. I don't even know what I need to be
I'm gonna
practicing.
I'm gonna
Really,
be
it's
dropping
no
you a
cards.
line. I'm gonna be dropping you a line here.
I know the answer, Doug.
Oh,
Raise your
Jerry,
hand.
Jerry, give
Pit
him
lane entry.
pit lane execution. Exactly right. If you execute your pit stop better than your competitors in the lower divisions, you gain a significant amount of time over them because they don't practice it. We have several drivers tonight getting race ruining penalties on entry for speeding. And then we have people not pulling into the box, right? So it moves their car, which is an additional 3 or 4 seconds. And then you're not knowing exactly where the line is, so you're not being as efficient on the brakes or on the gas. Oh, like time stopped for the pit lane.
Too, I will point this out because this is D6. For any newer drivers that are out there, if you go into your assists, I love assists. I mean, they're great, but turn off automatic ignition because the time it takes for the automatic ignition to turn your car off in the pit box is like a good 5 seconds, 6 seconds, maybe, like on both sides. So switch that to manual, just put a button on your controller, keyboard, wheel, whatever, and just as soon as you're braking and going and gliding into that box, you're already switching off that ignition so that when you stop that car into that box, your ignition is already off and they can lift you right up onto the jacks and get you going.
Last Rise leaves the pit lane after serving their stop go 30, gets a second stop go 30. Elects to teleport back to the pit.
Sorry, I don't know that.
You hate to see it. That race is over. Race is over.
The last rises went through so much ups and downs for this whole race. Like, they have moves, then they back out, then they lose traction, then they gain positions, then they get penalties. It's been like up and down through the whole race. I just feel bad for this driver right now.
You know what's
Honestly,
worse
at
than
this point.
not executing your pit stop correctly?
What?
Not executing a pit stop at all, like Tim Soik.
Oh. Oh wait,
No.
he got the penalty for that?
If you look at the green boxes next to everyone's name, who's the one name that doesn't have one?
Oh no. Tim.
Now,
Tim,
is that
no.
a disqualification?
That it's not.
It's not.
It's a minute.
Okay.
Or sorry, it's 130 seconds, which is more than 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes and 10 seconds, which is insanely long time. I remember, Doug, I was talking about earlier. I was like, well, is he gonna have enough time? Yeah, he is, if he remembers. And it looks like he did not.
No, he didn't. Calvi was the last driver able to get into the pits with under the pit window. Soik literally drove past the pits as it closed.
That's unfortunate. And taking a look at the time stopped for the pits, it looks like Castro stopped for 4 seconds, which I think that's like almost a perfect execution. I think, 1 liter fuel's like 3.2 or something like that?
4 seconds is perfect. 4 seconds
4
is
seconds
perfect.
is perfect, yeah.
The problem is that Castro had to stop the second time after getting that drive-through penalty. So even if it was a perfect pit stop, you still had to go through the pit lane twice.
Oh, yeah.
But good execution despite. And that 4 seconds is the best pit stop by an additional 5 seconds. And that's a long time in race time. The next
Papadopoulos has an 08.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I see that. And then Fari Henry has 9. So that's what I did not see.
Yep.
And then Papadopoulos has 9. Compton has an 08.
Yep.
So the Honda gang is practicing their pit stops. That is good. Everyone else, 1 minute and 3 seconds in the pits.
Tisk.
36 seconds in the pits. 47 seconds pits. Last rise, 2 minutes and 47 seconds in the pits.
It's like a lap and a half.
Oh,
man.
it hurts.
Gas can go off here. I'm watching it here in the replay, trying to see what happened here. Looks like another victim of turn 6 going onto that straight. Yes. Just,
And
touching the
collects
curbs.
a big dosage of damage there.
It looks like
Yes.
that allowed Tim Soik to kind of catch up there, and now is in with a couple tenths from his rear end.
You're not wrong, but he has to be careful because I'm pretty sure that is, yep, Fari Henry, the race leader behind the both of them. As you
Fari's
see,
gonna have
Ryan Luke collects a drive-through. You hate to see it.
Oh no. Speedy in the pit lane?
I think too many track cuts if I had to guess, because he's been off
that's
track more
unfortunate.
times than he's been on track.
That is unfortunate. Oh, and it looks like letting that blue flag by from Gaskin allowed Soik to kind of take the inside. Let's see if they can capitalize. It doesn't look like it. It looks like Soik is opting to back out of that.
Yeah, respectful racing there. Gaskin basically went off track to let the race leader by, and that definitely allowed the door to be wide open and has invited Castro back into the mix. Castro is definitely faster than Soik and Gaskin, so I have a strong feeling that this is going to be a double overtake in the near future here.
Yeah, keep in mind it's always the responsibility of the passing car to do a safe overtake here, and it looks like we're gonna have Gaskin kind of making a little bit of an oopsie, allowing Castro and Soik to kind of slip by there.
So
they're still very, very close to each other, though.
one move is done. Castro very much carrying, so much more momentum than Soik, but has to let off a little bit. Gaskin goes off because of that moment too.
Oh no.
I think he
Did
got
a little
on.
bit of lawn mowing here.
Yep, let's have a look. Goes
Dirt
wide,
rally.
hits the slippery stuff, and then plows into the wall. And then, as you see it, the front bumper is mutilated, absolutely mangled.
Oh no.
We see Castro
looks-
now in real time putting the moves onto Soik. Soik desperately trying to keep him at bay. This is going to be very difficult for
Yeah, I don't think there's a move
Soik
here
to
just
hold.
yet.
Not yet,
But
but
yeah, it is going to be very difficult to hold this position. You're definitely right about that, Dougie.
He's also got to watch these track limits because I did see him go off there, so
yeah, he's been
hopefully
pushing.
not racking up too many.
He was the first to collect a drive-through penalty in the field, so I wouldn't put it past him to collect another one. As Gaskin has another yellow flag moment, his car is damaged to hell and back, and it is proving to be a handful.
Taking out a little bit of the braking boards there.
Yeah, you see Castro obliterate this styrofoam.
He's like Gaskin, I know you had a tough race, but I'm also gonna destroy these so you can't brake.
Yeah. Gaskin does get
You're
passed by McAllister too, unfortunately. Gaskin just nursing this car as best he can, but right now it's proving to be quite difficult. Gaskin going very slow. Very slow.
Wonder if he's got a suspension damage.
Afraid.
Would not surprise me.
He's going straight to the pits. I would elect to do that as well. We take a look back over here to Soik and Castro. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Castro has not been able to make the move on Soik yet. But we might see it up here in the future as the pace difference between the two of them is about a whole 2 seconds.
Castro is getting very close and nearly getting overlap in every corner exit scenario, and then just has to tuck back in. Soik goes
here
deep.
It is. Soik has a late braking right there, and Castro just is like, "Yep, thank you, goodbye."
I don't know if you guys have noticed yet, but Last Rise has had a stop go 30 for more laps than I can count.
Probably a lot of laps. Let's just say that. Maybe like 6 or 9 laps.
Oh no!
Soik having a moment.
Yes, Soik going off.
No, less trees. Okay. Sorry, last rise. I thought for a second they were gonna get speeding again, but like he went down to like fucking 20. Excuse my language. 20 miles per hour when he passed that line. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not getting speeding in the pit lane again."
Smart man. Soik trying to follow behind Castro, not able to maintain control of the cars. Does have a big slide, and Calvi able to keep it out of harm's way by passing. Luckily, not getting collected in the mix. Back to your race leader is Fari Henry. 10-second gap to the second place car here, putting on a consistent, error-free result here so far, with only 16 minutes left to race.
Yeah, Henry has been really, really consistent throughout the whole race. He started P2, and after the drive-through that Castro had to serve, just took P1 with little to no effort, and has been holding it ever since.
That, and similarly, Calvi, although slower than teammate Fari by about 5/10 per lap, is managed a very clean race, as I condemn them to a off track there on camera, so we will ignore that. But Calvi, again, putting a relatively clean race together thus far, and resulting in a 55-second gap to P3.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, these two drivers have been super consistent. They're both fast, but I feel like the one thing that kind of separates them is just that consistency. Is just it's there. You know, lap after lap, just being able to put down times, not going off track, not needing those penalties. And like you said too, that practicing those pit entries, I feel like these people definitely did that better than some.
Couldn't agree more. We're on board with Compton, who has had a much better result than last week. And then similarly, teammate Papadopoulos Stamati here, well, a significant improvement over last week's result. I couldn't tell you how many times we had to go on board of this orange NSX to see them spinning on the Indy infield. So glad to see a much better result today.
Yeah, learning from your mistakes is what you want to see here, and being able to perform so well in the wet, you know, it's just a testament to these drivers' practice and skill.
Just also looking at where everybody's kind of lined up. I know that Henry and Calvi are teammates, so that's going to be some good points if they keep this, pull them even farther ahead in the team standings. But with Compton and Papadopoulos, this result could move them up closer to second. I know they're probably going to jump Ruda, who is running by himself and unfortunately not here today.
They will have to speak for that next time they're on track.
Yep.
I've been watching Ryan Luke here, and I was about to commend him for not making a mistake for a handful of corners while I was watching, but then elects to drive right off the track in Sector 1. So I spoke a little bit too soon, but improvement has been seen. What I like so far, though, is Ryan is putting a great effort towards the race tonight, not quitting like many other drivers would in the same circumstance. As we see another off track, keep that car under control. Nice job. We started this race with 13, and he's in 12th. So that tells you that he technically has one overtake this race. All right, Last Rise is leaving the pits. Please clear that stop go 30. There's no way you're going to still harbor this thing, are you? It has been cleared.
Let's go. Small victories for him today.
That is big for the program, ladies and gentlemen. Last Rise clears the penalty that has been looming over their head for what felt like half the race. Now Beckstead is in the pits. Is this the end of the race for Beckstead? They've been sitting in the pits for 1 minute and 4 seconds already. Have they called it quits?
I'm I'm not sure. Did they have a moment there, or just too much damage?
I don't know.
I don't know if anybody caught that.
I know they've had a couple moments this race, but I don't know if they've actually hit any walls other than just having a little bit of front end damage.
Not sure. The closest battle on track right now is between Gaskin and chasing down McAllister. Doing so relatively quickly. Just took a second out of McAllister in just one corner alone. So this is looking to be a significant battle here relatively soon. The difference in pace between laps, the most recent laps between these drivers were 2.5 seconds different. Gaskin 2.5 seconds faster than McAllister last lap. So this battle is going to happen sooner rather than later. And as we're talking, Beckstead is still in the pits. I think their race is done.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. I'll be surprised to see if they get going again. Yeah, it looks like that gap between Gaskin and McAllister has closed to less than half a second now, as both cars are entering the last set of turns before the next lap.
Last Rise, despite the horrible penalty situation, does get past Beckstead in the pits because of Beckstead's early departure here. And Ryan Luke has something to fight for. Ryan Luke is only 1 lap down. So if he finishes 1 or 2 laps in the next 10 minutes, he can get an overtake done to Beckstead.
Let's go.
Get after
it. I want to see it, man.
Get after it, Ryan.
Get after it.
Speaking of getting after it, Gaskin is putting the pressure on McAllister now. 5/10 separate the two of them. And I've been seeing that Gaskin's been putting a lot of pace difference here in the twisty bits. As you see McAllister failing to put the power down. And Gaskin's going to get a massive run. The move is done before it even started.
Wow. That's crazy. He took that and he was just like, yeah, it's mine now.
I am the captain now. Another moment for Josh Smith. Struggling to keep this car under wraps. As you see, it's just really squirrely. Fighting the car left and right. The steering wheel's all over the place. Oh, and Josh Smith, right at the end there, I just what looks like Ryan Luke plastered the back of him. Is that what happened, Austin?
I was also in a replay at it, and in a different camera angle. It looks like it might have, because if you look here on the tire, it is not rotating on screen.
No
It's front right.
way. So he has suspension damage. So Josh Smith is limping the car to the pit lane to get some much needed repairs done.
He's not holding that steering wheel straight.
Yeah, that's
to
tough.
go straight.
That is tough. Suspension damage is brutal. Important to note, Beckstead has left the pits and has continued their race. That's great news.
That's actually surprising there. It's a little unfortunate. I don't think we're going to see Luke make an overtake. But he is back into it, and it looks like he is going to be able to maybe gain a position or two. What is going on? Sorry, my race control is kind of be a little wonky right now.
That is A-okay, as we see both Luke and Beckstead off track at the moment.
Some soggy sand that they went and visited. They are not far from the beaches of Misano beaches here, and they decided to try to visit the infield ones. Not fun to visit.
Do you think they're making sand castles, or are they, I don't, maybe just plugging an umbrella in the sand? As we see Ryan Luke literally just drive off track. I don't understand. Oh, and Last Rise collects another penalty.
No.
What's going through this man's
has
head?
had so many drive-throughs.
This man.
I mean, he's up by 3 seconds on his fastest time, so. But it's not a valid lap, so.
It means nothing.
it means nothing.
Last Rise is having a horrible result tonight.
I wonder if you got caught up by, I think it's turn 15. That one can actually give you 2 penalties or 2 track cuts in one go. Which, as we see here, he has a little lazy spin into the grass coming into turn 4.
Wait, did... Oh, Luke got track limits, okay.
Luke does pick up a drive-through penalty, icing on the cake for these drivers in P11 and P12 respectively. Tough, just tough. This track is unrelenting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with how many times they've went off the track here, I expected them to get, no time gained, but the game has been handing out the penalties now.
Misano in the wet, the stewards are not kind. They hand it out. Even if you do let off, they're just gonna still slap you with that track cut.
You're not
and
wrong.
There goes Gaskin.
Gaskin also picks up 1. That being said, Gaskin is on, so the leaders are on lap 29. Gaskin's on lap 26. The next driver, P9, is on lap 23. So Gaskin can serve this drive-through penalty without having to worry about losing a position.
Yeah, the lap difference here is crazy. A lot of gap between any driver right now.
Well, Castro is a man on a mission, though. If you're looking at timings, his last lap was 2 seconds faster than Papadopoulos, so he is on a mission to try to get that 4th spot.
Keep in mind
that.
I was going to say these lap times are about just under 2 minutes apiece, so if there's basically enough time for 2, maybe 3 laps, and if you're taking 2 seconds out of it per lap, you're not going to have enough time to catch up to P4 or Castro unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, Papadopoulos is going to have to make a major error here and possibly go off track to give an opportunity for Castro to take that position.
We will see. The pressure is on, but Castro's keeping it honest as we saw Gaskin enter the pit lane. Hopefully executes appropriately and doesn't pick up a secondary penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yep, hopefully not.
As we also see Luke enter the pit lane to serve their penalty. Right now, it just looks like everyone's kind of just in the zone, doing their thing. Yeah, the gap from Castro to Papadopoulos, the last lap difference was 5 seconds. So technically, actually 4.5 seconds. So this is a very real possibility that we could have Castro catch up sufficiently to Stamati here, but it's gonna be a stretch.
You might be looking at a last lap battle, which is always fun to see.
You're not wrong. And like predicted, Gaskin sped in the pit lane, gets dealt a stop-go 30 as an added measure to their drive-through penalty.
Oh no.
Austin, can you remind D6 as to what I recommend?
Don't worry. I did write it down this time, so I will not forget. It is pit lane execution.
There we go.
You should have said something like completely different just to mess with Doug. Sorry.
I thought about it, but I decided to make Doug happy for once.
Always eat your vegetables. Luke executes their penalty, pit stop well, and clears their name in the books. And Last Rise is serving their penalty now as Luke elects to pit again anyway, despite not having a penalty. What's that about?
It is down to 4 seconds between Castro and Papadopoulos. At this point, he's like, I don't want to race anymore.
With only 3 minutes left, just get after it, my guy.
Yeah, just get some practice.
Over the wing of this orange Honda, you can see the McLaren encroaching.
Still 3 seconds out. Only 2.5 minutes left on the clock. I don't think he's gonna make it. I think Papadopoulos has been pretty consistent so far.
I think you're
keeping
wrong.
That fourth position.
I think
do
you're
too.
wrong. Castro just
He
did a
is-
149.8. Papadopoulos did a 154.1. 4 seconds a lap difference, and there's only a 2-second gap. There's enough time for 2 laps. Castro might get this done.
Yeah, and when we first talked
he
about
might be
this,
able to
it
make
was
it to the back end, but he's still got to make the move.
he's got the pace for it. Because when we first started talking about it, it was 10 seconds, which was what 2-3 laps ago, and then he's already cut it down to about 2.
Yeah, the pace is there.
True. I feel like he could definitely come up to the rear bumper, but I'm willing to make a bet that he won't be able to pass. But we'll see here in the future if he'll be able to pull it off here in the next couple of minutes.
Well, at the bottom of the mini map on the right, car 172 is Fari Henry, our leader. In crossing the mini sector of Sector 3 here, as Papadopoulos goes off. Oh boy, that's a huge time loss. Huge time loss.
No.
It's in the cards
Just
for
a
Castro.
1.5 seconds.
In the cards for Castro. But as I was saying, Fari Henry is finishing Sector 3 now. When he crosses the line, that will be the last lap of the race.
That's crazy. Now the gap between Castro and Papadopoulos now just down to 1 second. It looks like I might lose that bet, Doug.
Oh my goodness. Gaskin leaves the pit lane to clear the stop with 30. Didn't clear it. Got another one.
Oh, no.
Gaskin, this is me proverbially smacking you on the head.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you
So,
You heard it there.
pretty sure
That is the final lap.
The last tries has gained more drive-throughs than Gaskin, but he's trying to definitely break that.
This is the race with the record of most penalties. And as we see here, Castro has now firmly closed the gap. Only 2/10 separate the drivers now. This is the final lap, the last shootout. Papadopoulos has to execute a clean Sector 2 and Sector 3 and goes off!
He goes off track right here.
Both of them do.
Both of them go off a little bit. I don't think there's any track limits. That was scary for Papadopoulos there, but it looks like Castro is not able to capitalize. Going down the long straight here into the heavy braking zone. Looks like both cars executing relatively well there. Let's see who gets on the power better. It looks like Castro is getting on the power a little bit better here. I'm not sure if there's a move coming up in the works here. I don't
Back
think there
straight's
is, but
gonna
this
be
next quarter coming in.
The back straight's gonna look
super
good.
Leave the door open.
Oh, both drivers going side by side here. I think Castro is able to make the move here. On the inside, going side by side. These are really dangerous turns coming up here. They're going to have to execute this perfectly.
Oh, peels along, gets in front, tucks back in is Castro. Austin, pick up Fari as he crosses the finish line for me, please. We are on board with Papadopoulos trying desperately to protect his position on track. Castro.
Oh, no.
Oh, so close.
Oh, I don't think it's going to happen. He's just to execute this one corner perfectly, and he's good. Castro gets a little bit better on the exit right there. They're coming up.
Gets the move done in the final corner. Oh, Papadopoulos had it. He had it. Castro does an amazing surge through the field to capitalize on P4. Man. Nice job. Good race recovery.
You get a free coffee on me, Doug. All right.
Oh, that felt good.
That was
I feel like Papadopoulos almost braked there in that zone and just let him by.
It was, I think it was just fear out of collecting themselves. You know, all these drivers are so respectful, but Castro gets the job done by being braver on the brakes. And
on the last turn, nonetheless, of the last lap.
Yeah,
That's
that
crazy.
Was awesome. But not to overshadow the fact that Fari Henry, P1, Calvi, P2, as you see them staging each other for a photo, that's nice. That's nice.
Solid one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, keep in mind that sometimes, I know there was a driver that this happened to in the last race. They went to take photos and accidentally drove backwards on the track and got disqualified, so just be careful about that.
Yeah, that's nice. These guys. Oh, look at these 6 homeboys all hanging out with one another. That's nice. That's nice.
Oh, yeah. You love to see it.
So that's Fari Henry P1, Calvi P2, Compton P3, Castro manages to catch P4 in the last corner, Papadopoulos 5, Soik 6, McAllister 7, Gaskin 8, Josh Smith 9, Beckstead 10, Last Rise 11, Luke 12th, and you know who didn't make it? Nate Allen P13.
No.
Oh,
Nate Allen.
Allen. Man, I feel bad for our boy Nate Allen.
Well,
He didn't deserve it.
that is your race result, ladies and gentlemen. Good job to everybody involved. Really great job.
Yeah, good race. I mean, as far as cleanness goes, I feel like all drivers were very respectful. I don't think there was I think that maybe it was one incident where the driver ended up kind of collecting himself. And other than that, I don't think there was too many collisions throughout the rest of the race. So keeping up their name as the cleanest division of SRA, very good job with that.
Yeah, I think everything went really well. We have to interview Calvi and Henry for the team of 1 and 2. So let's bring them in here. All right. Good evening, Fari and Anthony. You guys took P1 and P2 with a pretty healthy margin. You must be happy with the team result tonight.
Killer.
Yes, sir. You know, that's what we focus on.
So, at any point, were you guys worried about the race result? I mean, it felt like you guys had it in the bag almost from the onset.
So the first 10 to 20 minutes, we were in comms and we were talking about Castro ahead of us. But then he got the drive-through, and then he got a second drive-through, and after that, we kind of were just like, let's just bring this home.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was gonna be a complete disaster. I was terrified all day today thinking about it. But after seeing what everybody else was doing, I was like, man, we might be all right. And yeah, man, we made out on top.
Well, all that nervous energy can dissipate now. You guys locked it in. Like you hinted at, there was an onslaught of penalties tonight, and you guys kept your noses clean. You got to be proud about that.
Yes, sir. After watching the D1 race yesterday, I realized that consistency was key today on track and not getting those track cuts.
You're not wrong.
Consistency and clean racing. That's all you got to do.
That's the MO of D6, is it not?
Yes, showing up for D6.
Yeah, kings and queens doing their thing. Well, fellas, do you have any parting words for those listening?
D6 is the best. So is Badman's. That's all I have to say.
Mountain Dew, please sponsor me. Please. Respond to my emails. I've sent so many.
You were looking at the code red livery for next season, huh?
Oh, you know it. You know it.
Too funny. Well, fellas, you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for participating, and best of luck next week. Good job representing the night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
I want to pull up Papadopoulos and I forget their name.
I'm looking at Stamati right now, and he's muted in chat, so I don't think he's going to be the best person to pull up. But what I want to pull, I see Gaskin here. I want to let's interview Gaskin as
Okay.
Let's see here.
He's in race review 3.
I got him.
Yep, there you go.
Austin Gaskin, you're being interviewed for the D6 race. What a heartbreak at the end, collecting those penalties.
Yeah, how does that work? Because I served them in the pit. I actually did like 2. I served them, but then it looked they actually like doubled up. How does that work?
Our best prediction is that you sped in the pit lane when serving them. So it gave you a second rendition of the same penalty.
Okay, yeah, because I try to do like this little, I guess like a little J Dare hack or whatever, where you kind of release the pit limiter right before the line. And I think that's what's been getting me because that's what
Yep.
happened last week at Indy.
You got a little bit too cute with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, well that sucks. Needless to say, I don't think you'll be doing that again next week.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I won't be doing that no more. No more. 'Cause like I said, it works in like single player and multiplayer, but not with you guys. So I gotta make sure I don't do that again. No, but I actually had a good time. Actually, I didn't crash. I think I passed one or two people, but I ended up giving them back just due to me losing control. But I actually had fun in the rain. I was especially nervous just due to like the conditions and whatnot. But aside from that, I actually had a good time.
That's glad to hear. And yeah, we thought that you were doing a really great job, kind of surging through the field, like you were saying, just kind of putting those laps together. The only real issue you had tonight was just the pit stop execution, which several people in the grid tonight faced those same issues. So
Yeah,
you're not alone.
I saw that. And just another quick question too. If I like sustain like body damage outside of like the pit window, am I able to go into the pit and like get repairs, or is that not allowed?
You're allowed to do whatever you want. If you want to pit and fix repairs, it's just time loss on track for you personally. Most drivers weigh that risk of, hey, is my car damaged enough to where I need to get it fixed, or am I going to save time by not pitting?
Okay. Then question, then what's the not really point, but what's the thought process behind like the pit window then? Well, I guess it's like a mandatory pit window,
Exactly.
but okay, got it.
So what it
Okay, cool.
does, it forces our drivers to execute a pit stop, and it adds that extra bit of strategy into the elements of the race. So as you can see, some drivers are really keen on executing their pit stop well, and they can get in and out of the pit stops in less than 4 seconds. Some drivers struggle to even keep it under a minute. So that's a huge difference in time as you progress in your sim racing career. That the pit stop is a great opportunity to win time over your competitors.
Yeah, and I'll have you guys know this is my second race, so
Yeah, and you did a great job. And we several times throughout the D6 broadcast, we made it known that this is our entry level division, and that we every driver involved is very early in their sim racing career, and all you guys are learning and soaking up everything there is to know about sim
yeah.
racing. And like we hinted at many times, Sim Racing Alliance has a great infrastructure for those that are new or even those that are experienced to share and learn from one another in a really wholesome environment. So hopefully you're finding that that's the case.
Yeah, that's especially yeah. I'm definitely because I'm using like a super old Logitech what is it? GeForce GT steering wheel from like 2010 that I used
Nice.
when I was playing Gran Turismo Sport. So
Nice.
I've been thinking of getting like the either like an Alpha Mini
Mm-hmm.
and some pedals soon. But I gotta see if I'm like really invested in it yet.
No, it's smart. Yeah, I mean, I started with a Logitech G29, and then once like you said, I convinced myself that I was sold enough to upgrade and I was gonna commit to this hobby. Yeah, that's when the CSL DD and full 80/20 track racer rig came into format.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, great job tonight. Yeah, I would recommend just practicing the pit stop situation, and you're going to be in a really good spot next week.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, good job, and we'll catch you again next week.
All right, so that's it.
That's it, brother.
All right, sweet. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good one.
See you, bro.
All right, bye.
That was wholesome.
Yeah.
As you can
I
see,
can tell you.
I was going to say the mentality of these drivers in D6 is they want to learn as much as they can as fast as they
Yeah,
can.
that's definitely where I got that he was, a newer driver, maybe a younger driver perhaps, but just really wanting to learn and just asking a bunch of questions and learning a lot. In a very short time we have in the interview, we taught him like 5 things. So that's something we like to see from our anybody in the league, So.
Yeah, we take all that information for granted,
Oh yeah. Like for you and me, it's like second-hand nature, but you know.
Yep, you're not
Well,
wrong.
maybe for you more than me, but and there are some things that people don't know. So
You're not wrong. Well, Jerry, do you have any parting words?
I mean, thanks, Doug and Austin for being here and co-commentating with me and allowing me to be your co-commentators. But other than that, thanks everybody for coming out, and hope you guys see you next week.
Austin.
It was a good night. You know, it was fun to watch, and D6 keep on being the way you are. I'd love to see the growth and how much you guys are supporting each other.
It's super wholesome, and I want to echo what these guys are saying. Thank you for coming out tonight. I'm glad you guys are enjoying your experience here at Sim Racing Alliance. If you want to get more involved, if you aren't already, simracingalliance.com. You can get signed up with the Getting Started page. Check out our lap time leaderboards, get signed up for different championships, what have you. Look at our affiliates page to see who is partnering with our league to bring great content to everybody. And last but not least, if you want to show some support for SRA, hit the donations page and you can see through Discord or Patreon how to send some love our way. Like many of the people. Go ahead.
Merch, right?
So we just sent out our first batch of merch, and a side project I'm working on that I don't even know if I'm comfortable talking about it yet because it's in such its infancy, but I'll say it anyway. I am working on a merch shop for SRA. So
hey, let's go.
So
I didn't even know about that, but I just decided to bring up merch because
yeah.
Yeah,
that's too funny. But right now, merch is in the works. If you want to get involved and show your love to SRA, like many of the people whose names are scrolling at the top of the screen right now, you can do so by Patreon or Discord, with sort of links on our website. So thank you to everyone. Great job this week, D6, and we'll catch you again next week.
Peace out.
Would you like an apple pie with that? Would you like an apple pie with that? I'm a paper.